Everyone, I welcome you all as a part of this video lecture series where we are going to talk about different pointers on the data side. Our starting point would be managing data on AWS, where we will be discussing on storage and databases. Then we are going to deep dive into S3 for DS workflows. We will be talking about folders, versioning, lifecycle policies. Then we are going to query the data directly with Athena using SQL on S3. We will be planning a discussion on using RDS and Redshift for structured data. We are going to talk about hands-on, where we are going to store the CSV in S3, query with Athena, and then load into Pandas. And finally, we are going to conclude this video lecture series with a message: data scientists can learn to manage and query data sets at scale in AWS. So let's start with our first pointer or first statement: managing data on AWS. So whenever we talk about managing data on AWS, what does it involve? It involves choosing and integrating right combination of storage and database services to meet your performance, scalability, cost, and compliance need. So we are going to talk about data storage on AWS and databases on AWS. I've also taken few AWS documentations for you because I feel the best way to explore any feature, any service is the service documentation. So let me take you all to my first documentation called Cloud Storage on AWS. Now, best part about cloud storage is you will be getting storage as per your need. If you are looking for storing any type of data, any amount of data, or data in its raw format or native format, you have a storage option available. On the other side, if you are thinking from storing the data on the hard disk on servers, you have the options available. So based on the choice of workload, based on the nature of work you are doing, you have different options available. And few keywords which you can add with cloud storage on AWS are reliable, scalable, and secure storage for your data. Although security is the mutual responsibility of the cloud provider and customer. Okay, there would be few things which you have to take care about, that is also known as security in the cloud. Means whatever you are bringing in the cloud, that is your area of responsibility. On the other side, cloud is responsible for the security of the cloud. Okay, so now the major thing I just want to help you out with: why cloud storage on AWS? What is the reason behind it? So major reason behind using cloud computing and its feature is being agile and reduce time to market. Means you want to accelerate innovation. You want to choose from a broad portfolio of storage solution with deep functionality for storing, accessing, protecting, and analyzing your data. So if I talk about the benefits of cloud storage on AWS, these are the benefits listed in front of you. Means you can access the storage you need faster, you can reduce the storage spend, you can secure and protect your data, you can fuel innovation with new insights, and you can also build a data foundation for generative AI. Obviously, you can expand these benefits in order to get a deep dive into what exactly these benefits means. Okay, or at a very high level, if I have to sum it up all the benefits in one liner, I can say that AWS as a cloud provider provides you unlimited storage with the cost effective storage options. Okay, and also on top of it, even based on your access pattern, you can store your data in different storage classes, which is going to help you out to save the cost. Now, if I have to talk about AWS storage services, you can see if I'm going from the count perspective, they have listed 11 storage services in front of you. So from here, one thing which you can keep in your mind is a broad range of services which AWS offers as a cloud provider. Okay, they've listed down simple storage service, then EFS, FSX, and many more. What we are going to talk about in this particular discussion, I'm going to categorize cloud storage into three different ways. The first one is S3, which is known as Object Storage Service. Don't worry, I will be giving you an idea what does that mean. Then I'm going to talk about EFS, which gives you file storage service, and EBS, which gives you block level storage. Okay, so let's start with object storage. From here, we had got an understanding that AWS offers multiple storage options and each option is optimized for different use cases. Okay. Now, I told you I'm going to divide my storage choices into three categories: object, file, and block. Okay. When we talk about object storage, what do you mean by that? Object storage means you are storing the data in form of objects, or you are storing the data in its raw format or native format or in whatever format it is. So S3 suits well in that category because S3 allow you to store unlimited amount of data in its native format. You can store, you can retrieve any amount of data from anywhere. If I talk about the use cases with respect to the object storage, the use cases comes into picture. Let's say data lakes, a single source of truth, or a centralized repository with any type of data or any format of data. Okay. You can use it for the website hosting. You can use it for the unlimited storage. You can use it for the backups and many more use cases. Okay. If I give you some key features, you can say that S3 offers you virtually unlimited scalability. And there are many more features of S3 which includes versioning, life cycle policies, cross-region replication, and many more. Few of the features we are going to cover in our upcoming video lecture. And you won't believe all these features and many more which I have not even discussed here that makes S3 a powerful service or a power pack service. Okay. If you will be exploring services under machine learning categories or data science categories or data analytics categories, S3 would be widely used because the statement which says that you can store the data in any format makes S3 as a best choice for data science. If I'm going to talk about the next option, that is a file storage. We have different categorization under file storage like EFS and FSX. First thing, why we need a file storage, let me help you out. So here, when we want to share the data across multiple instances deployed in multiple locations or multiple availability zone, I can make use of EFS. So here we are using EFS in order to share the data. So it is ideal for shared access by multiple instances and applications. Okay. Now, one thing, EFS is suitable for Linux-based workload. I will not be going deep dive into infra part, but at least you should be having a basic understanding on infra too. Okay. And how can I give you a basic understanding? I always believe that servers are everywhere. Means if I have to define infrastructure in IT, I always define infrastructure in form of servers, everybody. Okay. And when servers would be coming into picture, like you can call servers as machines, you would be having operating system running on top of those servers. Let's say Windows or Linux or Mac or many more operating system. Now, I had given you one categorization that for Linux-based workloads, EFS is a choice. But what about if we have different types of workloads other than Linux? For example, Windows-based workloads only. Okay, how I'm going to share the data across different Windows machines? The answer is we will be using FSX. Now, FSX is a service. It comes with different categories. Like FSX for Windows is suitable for Windows machines. Okay. And then comes block storage, which is here, EBS. What do you mean by block storage? Block storage means you are storing your data in the blocks of equal size. The best example to understand this, all of you would be aware about hard disk on your laptop, on your machines. Okay. Now, in the hard disk, suppose if your laptop is having a specification 1 terabyte of hard disk or 2 terabyte of hard disk, you do the partitioning like C drive, D drive, E drive, F drive, and you are storing your data in those partitions. Okay. So here the point is we store the data in chunks. We store the data in blocks of equal sizes. Okay. So these are the three main categorization under storage. Yes, we have many more, like you can even see here as a part of the list. Okay. But for the time being, to start a journey with, we have to understand these three. Okay. And if sometimes a doubt comes to your mind, a very common question which my students ask to me, what is the difference between object storage, block storage, and file storage? Very good AWS documentation is available. Let me help you out. So let's say object versus block versus file storage. And you can specifically type AWS. See here, very good difference has been given to you. What is the difference between block, object, and file storage? There are three ways of storing data in the cloud so that users and applications can access it remotely over a network connection. Now you can see the difference. Block storage takes any data like a file or database entry and divides it into blocks of equal sizes. Object storage stores and manages all the data in unstructured format and in units called object. And if I'm talking about cloud file storage, it basically provides servers and applications access to data through shared file systems. Okay. Obviously, if anybody is interested, you can read more about these three features, like what are the similarities, how do object storage, block storage, and file storage work, what are the key differences. Okay. If you want to go into more technical side, and when should one use object storage, block storage, and file storage, this option also they have given to you. Okay, you can read from here. Finally, summary of differences between object versus block versus file. Okay, so that was about storage on AWS.